Diacarbi, I just felt ashamed watching Diacarbi. I felt ashamed.
That's
my all-time favourite press conference when he did that at the end.
Yeah. That is pretty brilliant, Freddie. I've got to give you props for that.
Stopper Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
By the order of the Streaky Grinders, welcome to the warm-up episode 61. Joining me, your host, Brady Frost, is Tom Bradshaw, and we're joined by Freddie Cocker today. How are you both?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Brady. Yeah, the notice that I got from your invitation means I'm probably the 15th guest you asked to come as back.
Whoa. Come on. That's just poor organisation.
But I'll take it for the debut.
That's just poor organising, mate. You weren't the last.
It reeked of a six-a-side backup text.
Oh, don't get me started about a six-a-side. Forget organising a five-a-side every week when I played at Soccer City in Huddersfield. That's harder than my job, literally. Corralling people. But that's a podcast for another day. Don't get me started. Yeah. How are you, Tom? Are you good?
Is that a new segment, Brady? Just don't get me started. There we go.
Oh, what a shout that is.
Would anyone want to hear that? Just me moaning about stuff?
Just you moaning, probably.
You could be like Grumpy Old Men. Do you know the show on BBC? You could be like that, but just put a twist on it.
I think we already are that, aren't we, Tom, really?
Most Town fans are Grumpy Old Men, to be fair,
exactly,
mate.
Yeah.
Look at that. He's been on for 2 minutes criticising Town fans.
Not after Wednesday.
Hey, I'm one of them, so I can.
Exactly, Tom. Not after Wednesday, because we were both at that game, and what a bloody win it was. It was great. But it's not even been 48 hours, really, when we're recording since that fantastic victory over Cardiff. But we do have another game to attend with. So you might have heard my awful Peaky Blinders reference there at the start, because we're actually playing Small Heath Alliance this Saturday, because Birmingham have rebranded, going back in time. Because I think
that was a Cockney accent, mate, not Birmingham.
That wasn't it? I can't do it.
I'll let you off that one.
Thank you. Yeah, if any,
you just got to pretend to be moany. Just go, I'm really, really hungry. Really want to go watch the baggies. Yeah.
God, if any Birmingham fans listen to this, but Birmingham are rebranding for this game to promote the new series of Peaky Blinders. But I've seen the kit. It's pretty good. Oh. But we will see that on Saturday. But yeah, anyway, so Lee Bows Birmingham, they're 18th in the league. They're on 37 points, 9 wins, 10 draws, 15 losses. But in regards to the form table, they're not the best. They've won just once in the last 6, and they've only won 3 of their last 8 home games. So I was looking at the head-to-heads, and under Carlos, Town are actually yet to beat Birmingham. And the record is just 2 wins in the last 10 league games, with the most recent coming in a 3-0 win at St Andrews. You might remember, lads, that was the Danny Cowley game where both teams were terrible, and we I think Kachunga scored for the first time in months.
I've got a great Danny Cowley impression I can bang out if you want at some point.
Well, it's now the time, or am I putting you on the spot?
Yeah, so we played really well today. We showed a lot of desire, a lot of application. I thought Backer played really well. I thought Bacuna, he's done really well today. Diacarbi, I just felt ashamed watching Diacarbi. I felt ashamed.
That's
my all-time favourite press conference when he did that at the end.
Yeah. That is pretty brilliant, Freddie. I'll give you props for that. Freddie, we brought you on for more than impressions, so I'll come to you first. We've not had you on recently, so what have you made of Town's performances, and how are you feeling ahead of this one?
Well, to be honest, mate, if we had done what I thought we were going to do at Fulham, i.e. get pumped, or just get beat 2-3-0, I'd have felt a lot more pessimistic going into this game. But after that, I'm on bloody cloud 9. I'm like that Eddie Hearn meme when he talks about Anthony Joshua winning when he wins the rematch against Andy Ruiz. So I've just felt it's just been great to get excited and dream again. Like I was at a gig on Wednesday for the home game against Cardiff, and we never beat Cardiff. Cardiff and Birmingham are teams we never ever beat. They are our bogey teams. They always shithouse us and they always bully us. Like kind of Stoke, these kind of teams we never really do well against. So we were 1-0 down, I saw, and the band were just about to come on, and I just flicked my 4G on and it said 1-0 off. Oh, get in, right. I just turn it off. It'll be 1-0 at the end. And like, I'll just not think about it. And then like, I think second or third song in, I was like, oh, it's definitely full time now. So I flicked my 4G back on and it said 2-1. I just went, fucking get in. And like some random person around me just obviously gave me a really weird look. But yeah, absolutely buzzing, man. I mean, I've been so impressed by the last kind of 4 or 5 games watching Fulham. Obviously, we didn't have a great vantage point behind the goal, so I can't go into massive tactical, points like Stephen Chicken does. But we just played so well. Like to a man, everyone was brilliant, and we, apart from a couple instances where Mitro, I think there was one instance where Mitro almost walked through our entire team, and then someone put a block in. We kept him relatively quiet, and then the header, like for Mitro standards, his basic game is a brace pretty much. And now I think he's broken Ivan Toney's record from time of recording. So yeah, just been so impressed. I texted my dad after the Cardiff game, just saying we're going up. I was just so excited to say we're going up. Let's go to every game. Let's go every game we can go to. Let's go. So yeah, because of Cardiff, I'm more confident going into tomorrow's game than I would have been. I think if we had lost against Fulham and drawn against Cardiff, I probably would have gone, we're probably going to get beat. It's a standard. It's going to be a standard Jukovic 70th minute header, and he's going to score, and then we're going to lose. Or it's going to be Lyle Taylor. I think Lyle Taylor's playing for them now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So Bowyer's got him. So I think Lyle Taylor will shithouse us and get someone sent off, and then But I'm so much more. I mean, we'll probably end up losing as the Town way goes. But I'm so much more confident now than I would have been if the last 2 results hadn't gone that way.
Great to hear. And Tom, you were up for the Cardiff game. I think we got carried away. It's 2 wins in a row. Do you think Town can make it 3 in a week?
No, I don't.
I don't the classic
know,
pessimist Town fan, Tom.
Yeah, but it's another tough game, isn't it? The one thing I take into this game coming up, confidence, is how well we managed. I mean, Cardiff Lineker's made some good saves, but I think we managed that kind of player quite well. And you look at Birmingham's front line, and it's I'd say it's a bit even more physical potentially than what we faced on Wednesday. But I didn't, to be honest, I didn't think we were going to beat Fulham, and I wasn't particularly that confident going into Cardiff, really. So yeah, come on, we've got to be on some sort of roll. The momentum's hopefully going to stay with us. I've always had good experiences going to St Andrews. Maybe I've been lucky. I think I've seen us win 3 or 4 times there now, so you never know.
Do you reckon Bacuna's going to play?
Well,
yeah, 100%. We'll come on to that.
It's got to be Hogg then. It's got to be Hogg, surely. It's got to be Hogg on it. Get him sent off. We know how to wind him up. Come on.
Has anyone picked Bacuna as their key player for this one? I suppose that's a nice little segue. No?
Not me.
No, for me, it's always Jukovic because he always scores against us. So that's an obvious pick. Sorry, Brady.
No, that's fine. No, Jukovic, that's a good shout. Tom, who do you go for?
So I think just touched on that front. So they've got Lyle Taylor and Jukovic are fit, aren't they? But I think Deeney and Hogan could be out. I don't know about Deeney. I saw him training the other day, but I feel like he might pick something else up. Anyway, I've actually gone for Jeremy Bella, the winger.
Good player.
So I just think he looks like a bit of a threat.
Is he on loan from Chelsea? Am I thinking of Jeremy? Am I thinking of Boga? Is it Boga? Or is it Bella?
Oh, Bella's played for I know what you mean. He's I think he's at Sassuolo now. So Sassuolo and Birmingham very different. But
right. I'm getting them confused.
No, sorry, don't go on.
he's still there, isn't he? He is still there. I've not done the classic.
Yeah, he is still there. Yeah, don't worry.
But he's got their most assists this season. So I just think with Taylor, and I'm assuming it's going to be Jukovic up top, isn't it? So, and I think they're the kind of strikers that they're not going to pick the ball up from halfway and take on our whole team, are they? They're the type of players who need the delivery, and if we can stop that kind of delivery, so their main threat, the person who's been supplying them this season, is that Bella. So I think if they're going to kind of create anything or come up with anything, it's potentially going to come from him. So we want to kind of stop that supply, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick because whenever, last couple of games, I've always thought, it's a bit dangerous on the break. I feel like caused us a few problems at a home game recently. I can't remember which one, but yeah, no, great pick. I've gone for Gary Gardner. So he's their captain. So he kind of, he's not a name that immediately jumps out of you, but he's got 5 goals in 25 games, which is quite good for a midfielder. And just looking at the websites we check going into this one, he's got quite a good rating the last 3 or 4 games, like consistently about 7.5 out of 10.
Set piece taker as well, isn't he? I think.
Yeah.
Set piece taker. Yeah.
I think he might be, yeah. But yeah, he seems to be, Birmingham play like 4-3-3, and he seems to be in the middle or sitting on the left. So could be a bit of an interesting one because I think we've talked about it, Tom, but I think in a lot of these games, the midfield battle can be quite key. Not so sure if it is with Birmingham in this one, who knows? But I think he's going to be one to watch because he seems to be playing well at the moment.
They just got beat by Reading's Paul Ince's Reading, I should say now, with Tom Ince in as a new signing. So
yeah,
and
I heard
he was playing on the wing, by the way, on that game. So I don't know whether they'll change anything based on losing to Reading, who are in dire straits. Yeah,
I think he's been playing on the wing since he's joined for them. So we'll probably talk. I think Bacuna's going to feature a lot in this one.
It's interesting that. So yeah, to beat Reading, I was looking at all their games. So in the last 14, right? They in one game in the last 14 they haven't scored in. So they do score, but then they've only had 1 clean sheet in that time as well. So it's going to be the kind of, I think we just got to score more than them.
Mm.
And then try defend as well as we can, because I can definitely see him scoring. Most of those games, they seem to average like 1 or 2. So it just depends if maybe we can outscore him on Saturday. I mean, that's the case anyway, isn't it? That's football. Outscore the opposition.
That's a proper football cliches answer if I've ever heard one, Tom.
So, Freddie, who have you picked from Town as your key player? Who do you think is going to make the difference in this one?
So, it depends, actually. So, if Bacuna plays, my key player will be Hogg, because I think that Corberan will say, wind him up, be on him, do something to get him rolled up, something along those lines. But if it's not Jonathan Hogg, I'd probably go with John Russell. It's an obvious pick, but just because he's been so good the last few games. He was when I saw him at Fulham, he's got I don't want to compare him to him because Man United fans don't like him that much, but he's got a Pogba-esque sort of stature to him. He can hold people off. He can give the ball. He's not got a lot of pace either, which I think if he did have pace, he probably wouldn't be a Town, to be honest. But he did tire quite a bit in the last 20 against Fulham. I think I was saying to my dad, maybe Corberan could have taken him off for writing. Just we weren't kind of relieving a lot of pressure, so someone could just sit on the ball, dictate a bit more. But apart from that, probably because he was knackered and he hasn't probably played a big run of games before in a Town shirt. So yeah, if Bacuna plays, Jonathan Hogg. If he doesn't play, John Russell.
Yeah, no, I also picked Russell. Might just be because I'm on the hype train at the moment, but I just think you guys both talked about it, but they might have Taylor, they might have Jukovic playing up front, and I think his aerial threat in both boxes, from an attacking sense, but also defending it, it's going to be key. I've seen comparisons with him and Billing. I don't think he is like Billing because although Billing was a great player, but I just think. You touched on it there. He's not quick, Freddie, but he's just got fantastic feet and the composure he had for the goal against Cardiff. Just what an intelligent player, and you can see, how good the Chelsea academy has if we're getting players like this. Obviously, played at Accrington, last season, 20 odd games, and I just think he's come in and he's done. Didn't get any league minutes before January, and he's come in and he's added an extra dimension in on midfield, and I think. It's great going into this now because we've got so many, we have got so many options. I think we've said it quite a few times, Tom, but I think you can make a case for 13, 14 players to start, for various reasons. But he's made it his own, and I think he should definitely start on Saturday. Tom, who did you select?
I had a look. I think I just picked defenders, so I thought, come on, stop worrying about the defense because they've been playing great. So I've gone for Sorba just because of I feel like he was our main threat on Wednesday, and I think it's going to be a similar game to Wednesday. And if he can kind of bring a bit of that form in and cause the problems, then we're going to score goals. Because if we don't score against this team with the form they're in, then I think that's a bit worrying.
Well, it is our bogey team, so I wouldn't be taking too much if we didn't, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's our bogey team, Freddie, though, to be honest.
Yeah. There's a few.
After the last few seasons, it's like...
It's only MK Dons and West Brom that we're their bogey teams, I feel.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'd like to see Sorba just being as creative and just, God, he made Cardiff's defence look scared on Wednesday night, so... Bring that again against Birmingham, because that Birmingham defence must go into games now at the moment thinking, oh, we're gonna concede. Do you know what I mean? It's once you go on a run of just conceding, 1 in 14, 1 clean sheet in 14, and that was only looking back to that point. I don't know if it went further than that either. So yeah, I'll go with Sorba.
He loves a shit house as well, doesn't he, Sorba?
Yeah, he
does. Him in the Cardiff game. I think people were saying that John Russell was starting something, but when I looked at the replay, the Cardiff defender like pushes him or grabs him, and then he pushes him back, and then Smithies gets involved, and then everyone gets involved.
Yeah.
So didn't think it was as cut and dry as people said when they said he was trying to start stuff.
Yeah. No, I think sorry, just on the Cardiff game as well. Obviously, they were time wasting, and as you would in that situation, you can't knock it, but. And we've done that plenty of times, obviously.
Yes. We've got a university degree in it now.
Yeah, exactly. But
Lineker's got 6 bookings for it.
But I've got to say, just loved it when we got that last minute winner, because there's nothing better when a team's playing for a point and hanging on. Just wanted another dig in to say we're winning, really. But we'll move on. So we've got no view from the other side this week. I think it's probably because they knew we were going to do crap peaky blinders jokes and do a bad Brummie accent. So
bad. Speak for yourself.
All right. Anyway, so we will move on because it's time for everyone's favourite section. It's time for Return to the Mac.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. De Poitr's got the better. Yeah! And Laurent De Poitre scored! What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Return to the Mac. Okay, guys, so we're going for a trip down memory lane. I'm going to jump in on this one because we've said this many a time, Tom. It gets hard to do these when you have to do them every week. And the team's playing really well, so you don't really need to bring anyone in unless you want to bring in the heavyweights like Aaron Moy, blah, blah, blah. I'm just bringing in Juninho Bacuna for this one, just so he can't play against us, because I just think he's going to...
Great shout.
Yeah.
Classic.
It's a tactics. I just think he's probably going to have a good game against us, isn't he? Got a little fire in his belly. I saw a Birmingham fan saying Huddersfield fans, they were wrong about Bacuna. He's not lazy and inconsistent, like we said. But,
my eyebrows are telling you different stories here.
Right? Yeah. I mean, also, he's only played 4 games.
Exactly, Brady.
I'm all for getting excited about a new player joining, but give it 25 and then maybe come back to us. But,
I'm pretty sure when he started for us, everyone was saying how good he was, and then it just drops off, doesn't it? Yeah, give it time. He'll get bored.
Yeah,
and he's so frustrating because he obviously has got so much talent.
He 26, 27? It's like my age. Like he needs to, at some point he needs to really realize what football career he's going to have, because this has happened at multiple clubs now. I mean, if Gerrard turfed him out pretty quickly, so I don't know what that says to other agents and other clubs. So there you go.
Yeah, it's weird because I thought he'd probably be quite good at Rangers, but I think the fact that they're willing to, I heard they didn't even want a fee for him. The fact that they're willing to get rid of him in the next window.
Mad. That's mad.
That is mad.
But yeah, it's a shame because, like you say, Tom, it's so frustrating. I think more frustrating for me than like you in Benza and Diakarbit, because on his day he was great, and that second season in the Prem, when everyone was down in tools, he looked great. He was our best player in a lot of games, and he was giving it his all. And it's just a shame, really. But you can have a stinker in this one, Juninho. We're not going to be too upset if you do. But
looking back though, Brady, do you think now that second season performance was him trying to get a move rather than him taking leadership?
Ooh.
That's what
I don't
think.
know. Maybe.
Because at the time, everyone was like, "Oh, he's doing great. He's actually one of the few taking responsibility. He was amazing at West Ham, even though we got beat." And then now I look at it and go, was he just trying to get a move somewhere else? And then the minute he went down to the champ, he just went to type. But there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll let the listeners decide.
Yeah.
But I think
we'll let his career decide that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, true. Go on then, Freddie. Who have you brought? You said you had a couple. You had two potential choices.
So I could have easily done an Aaron Moy here and just played my trump card, but I've got two options. So we normally get beat against big bullying teams. So I thought, well, we've got the defenders for those teams now, but maybe we haven't got that big centre forward. So I went someone very, very niche. He played, and as I do a podcast myself, Just Checking In podcast, if you want to listen to it. As an ex-player now who does his own podcast, I went for John Parkin as one option.
Ooh, big John.
On loan for us, 2011-2012 season, scored 0 goals. I think I'm right in saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. I think 3 appearances. I think it might have been it was either a Lee Clark or a Simon Grayson sign, because I think that was the year we went up. But I'm not sure. The listeners can tell me that. And my other option, because I was at this game when we beat Birmingham, was Chris Brandon, because he scored against Birmingham. And I can't remember what season it was. I think Alex McGleish was their manager. I think was it Jacko in charge? I can't really remember now off the top of my head. But that
might have been.
Was it Andy Ritchie?
Andy Ritchie, yeah.
Oh, God. But yeah, so I'm going for Chris Brandon for nostalgia reasons.
Nice.
Sorry, John. But yeah, those are my two options. I went very niche.
Well, I like the John Parkin shout because for my mates group chat, those video messages you can do. I got John Parkin to do one.
Cameo. Yeah.
John Parkin did one, and it's great because he just goes off script. So we did it after a couple of drinks, and sent it across to him, and it's like just a fairly straightforward script. It's like if you did it, it's probably like 20 seconds, and the video's 2 minutes, and it just like goes off script. It's great. I'll see if I can clip some in the editing, because I got him to sail up the town. So
one of the most northern men I think I've ever heard on audio and video.
Yeah. Oh, it's great, isn't it? That's Norman's.
He's a good player, wasn't he, in that league? But I mean, shame he came right near the end of his career. But
okay, but you have gone for Chris Brandon just to confirm. Yes, right. Lovely.
Chrissy Brandon.
Tom, who have you gone for? I like you throwing the.
I'm going to take you
format out the window.
Take you back nearly 100 years.
Jesus Christ.
To a attacking player called Dave Mangnall. Who scored, right, listen to this. He scored 61 goals in 71 appearances for Town.
Right.
And I just thought, wow, what a goal scoring record that is. And then he actually went to Birmingham after Town as well. So I just thought there's a little nice connection. But I just, I don't think we're lacking goals. But if you had someone with a goal scoring record like that these days, they wouldn't be playing in the Championship, would they? So, and also I've done that before, picked someone from nearly 100 years ago. I'd also like it'd be interesting to see if the quality is still the same this now. I didn't say that well at all, but
I would be skeptical.
Yeah, but that's a good record, Freddie.
It is a great record.
Yeah.
Hang on, are you becoming a proper football man now, Tom? Back in the days and stuff like that.
You're going to bring on next week Jimmy Glazzard and Billy Smith.
I've already.
Vic Metcalf for the diving headers.
I think I already did Jimmy Glazzard a few months ago.
That reminds me of we did those town, what's your favourite Town 11 players that you like? And someone had a go at me for not picking Ronnie Jepson, and I was like, I want to One around.
Yeah, Duncan Shearer, never saw him live, 100%. Craig Maskell, yeah. Craig Maskell and Duncan Shearer is my front two.
Oh yeah, Malcolm Brown. When's he from the 30s? Yeah, no, my favourite Town player.
This is my dad picking it. Then yeah.
Yeah. We'll move on. So we've been powering everyone left, right, and centre. So we should stick on task. It's time for You're the Boss, Freddie. The question I asked to all the guests. Tom will roll his eyes at this point, but you're in the dugout on Saturday, not Carlos. My most important question I want to know is, what's your managerial get-up? What are you wearing?
Oh, suit, 100%.
Suit,
100%. If you're in it, I wouldn't do the whole like. If I was wearing a tracksuit, I wouldn't do the initial stuff.
No.
I'm not on that.
You're not going to do the Hodgkinson PJH.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Even
I wouldn't do that.
Even the middle name initials in there.
So Brent,
I'm getting James in there. I don't know if his middle name's James.
No, if I was in the role, it's got to be. I think sometimes I'd probably mix and match. If it was a cold, windy night, I'm not backing out a Dolce & Gabbana suit anytime soon. But most of the time, I reckon I'll go full Palo di Canio suit.
Nice. That reminds me a bit of Ollie. Ollie teed it up when we asked Ollie Fisher, and he was like, them suits in Italy, they're like custom made. I was like, oh, yeah. He went, yeah, no, I'm going to wear shorts and a cagoule. I was like, all right. Yeah. Fair enough. I like it, dapper. But Freddie, how are you? What changes will you make to this? Like, I suppose we were saying earlier, you can, there's arguments for quite a few players, but how would you line Town up for this one?
Yeah, so I think defence, I would keep Cole on the bench for now. I'd probably stick to a back four. I'd probably go the defence from Fulham. So I'd go Turton, Toffs, Lees, Pearson, and then obviously Nichols at the back. Midfield, so I'd probably go, because this is the thing with the wingers, it really is a lot, apart from Thomas, it really is mix and match at the moment. I think Sinani gets a go, and then he's not been in form, and then Corberan gets a go, and then Holmes gets a go. So I'd probably play 4-3-3. So I'd probably play, depending on obviously Bacuna, I'd play Hogg, O'Brien, Russell, or Hogg, O'Brien, maybe Scott High. But yeah, probably Russell at the moment because he's in form. And then front three, at the moment, I play Holmes, Thomas, Ward. I think Holmes gets not enough love at the moment. You spoke about this last week, Brady. I think he's been one of our best players this season. After the sort of wobble we had at the start, I think he's been pretty faultless. He helped Toff out a lot against Fulham when Toff was getting caught out defensively. I actually have a bit of a hot take. I didn't think Toff was as outstanding as people think. I still think he was good, but he got caught out a few times defensively. He wasn't tight enough to his man at certain points, but Holmes covered him really well. So yeah, that would probably be my starting lineup. I think I'd bring him in. I'd probably rotate him for the next Tuesday, Wednesday night game. I reckon if we're going to do that, to bring Cole back in, because I just don't want to upset that defense. Yeah, because he's been playing so well, and Turton's been in the form of his life, and it's probably the best game I've seen him play against Fulham.
Yeah, no, I think. Well, you don't really change your winning team, do you? I think that's a fair point. And we teased Josh about it the other week, because he wasn't Turton's best fan. But I agree with you, Freddie. Turton's been great. I think.
You could make an argument for rotating the fullbacks, though. You could put Pippa and because Ruffles played on Wednesday night, didn't he?
Yeah, so he did. Yeah,
you could put Toffolo back in and rotate Turton for Pippa or whatever. So yeah, I mean that's probably more open to rotation. But yeah, I would probably stick with as much of a winning team as I can.
Good point, Tom. What about you? Are you doing anything different? Anything wacky? You're.
Oh yeah, two at the back, and then. No, I'm going to. I'm agreeing with Freddie there. I think go back to that Fulham team. I thought Ruffles. I don't know whether it was the formation. We did at Cardiff. We did struggle against Cardiff at times, and I don't know whether it was that formations. I thought Ruffles looked a bit lost now and again for the goal. I thought maybe he could have been tighter to Doyle when Doyle kind of steps into the box. Ruffles has a chance to at least get in front of him, and he kind of backed off, and then he's in one-on-one. And then Sinani had a bad game on on Wednesday.
Yeah, it was a shame that.
Yeah,
I've seen this before. I said, we win when he's in the team.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be going back to that 4-3-3, especially away from home. And I think we created just as much against Sheffield United and Fulham as we did on Wednesday. So yeah, same as Freddie, basically.
Yeah. Well, shock lads, I've also gone for the same team. I just, like you say, I think Hogg needs to come back in for this. I think that's the main change.
Grit away from home, Birmingham's got to be in it. Really,
Yeah.
It's a Hoggy game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's just it's
like
just
Millwall
game,
away. I'll be looking forward to seeing Hogg in that team sheet.
Exactly. Yeah, and but again, I think we've probably touched on this quite a few times, but we've got options now. If it's not working, Aitin can come on. I think he made a difference. For Jordan Rhodes was superb when he came on.
Jordan Rhodes, awesome.
Yeah,
he did everything but score a goal, basically.
Yeah, which is great. And I'm sure listeners will have seen this, but Stephen Chicken in his 5 conclusions after Cardiff, I think Rhodes has got he's got a goal or assist every.
Yeah, he's got 3 assists, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's his records like he's got a goal or assist every 100 minutes, which is incredible, really. And we know what Ward offers from a pressing perspective, but I just think again, this could maybe be another Rhodes game. If things aren't going well, for him to come on and make a difference. It's just, I don't know. We could talk about Town all day. It's just great to have options.
It's mad that we've got options now, isn't it? Like we've barely talked about Aitin that much, and I thought when we re-signed him, he was going straight back in because we massively missed that metronomic Moy-esque presence in the midfield when I was going to games, and there was no one to relieve the pressure. We were getting penned in. Obviously, Carlos wasn't instructing them to do that, but clearly Aitin was bought with a view to do that in a game where we need to relieve pressure. We need to kind of suck the energy out of the game and stop counter-attacks. But Aitin's not been used massively much because we've been so good, which is a great thing to say.
It's great. It's great how everyone's having to fight for the place now, isn't it? No one's just getting in that team because there's no other options. Lewis O'Brien, and not just on him,
unreal.
The amount on Wednesday night, when he just picked the ball up, I've not seen a player do that for ages, look so confident. And he had like 3 players around him and he just glides away from him.
It's weird, but he runs straight. He runs straight and no one tackles him. That's the main thing.
Another cliche coming out. It's like it's a magnet ball on his foot. If he's at Town next season, we've gone up. That's all I can say, I think.
Oh. Tom, why do you have to make us feel bad at the end? He was incredible.
And we're not even speaking about Tino, who's coming in.
No,
and is he starting training next week, or did he start training this week?
Oh, I don't know. He's back. He's at Canal Side now, isn't he?
Right. So he's at Canal. So if he starts training next week and he's fit in the next 2 games, I mean, by all accounts, if he wasn't injured, we wouldn't have got him. So does he walk straight into that right wing position? Does he move into the 3 because he can play as a 10? So would Carlos play him as an 8? It's options, and and I've got a couple of Chelsea mates, and I kind of been speaking to them, and they said, obviously they haven't seen him much because he doesn't get into the first team, but by all accounts he's raved about as Chelsea as one of their best. So we've got Colwill and Andrew in, and we tried to get apparently another Chelsea lad on loan in Jan. I think Kane was his surname.
All right.
Yeah, this is what my dad was telling me, but I don't know how much. I don't know. My dad sometimes goes on stupid transfer news sites, so maybe it was all
good
rubbish.
to have that Chelsea connection, isn't it?
Yeah. Playing half their youth team at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, and we spoke to Perry from Chelsea Youth, which is a Twitter account that just covers the academy, and he said,
"What a privilege!"
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's enough. There's
whole
enough
account just for the youth.
There's enough players, isn't there, and all their loan players. And he said Tino is the best player they've ever produced in the academy, better than Colwill, which is, we've seen our Colwill. So, Tino, when you do play, no pressure, mate. No one's hyping you up enough. But yeah, how are we feeling about this one then, lads? Tom, I'll come to you. Do you think we're going to get a win? You weren't so sure.
Come on. I've got 1-1 written down. I think. Okay. Danny Ward get a goal, 1-1. Keep that unbeaten run going. I just don't think. Have we got? They'll definitely score. I think they'll only score 1. But have we got enough away to get 2 against a team that's going to play similar to Cardiff? But with it being away, are they going to sit back like Cardiff did in the last whatever for the last 30 minutes? So I've gone 1-1. I'm confident we're not going to lose, but I think it'll be a tough game.
Freddie, do you share Tom's thought, or are you being a bit more positive?
Yeah, my town pessimist is saying 1-1 as well. I kind of feel that, and this is what my dad always says to me, we need to, win 2, lose 1 at this stage of the season. I'd rather win. If it comes to it and we're 1-1, I'd be disappointed if we lose 2-1. But if we lost 2-1 going for the win, as long as we won the next game, I wouldn't be too unhappy about it. Just because every team around us now is on a head of steam to some degree. Obviously, West Brom have dropped out. We can thank Steve Bruce for that. And Blackburn are having a bit of a wobble, but I think they'll still come good. So we've got Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, I'm kind of very worried about. QPR, who are third, which I almost think has gone a little bit under the radar to some degree, like we have. And they're all picking up points and they're all kind of drawing out late wins. I think 3 of them had late wins the other day when we did. So I would probably rather take a loss and then win next week than 2 draws at this stage of the season, because wins are massive. In the Wagner season, we think we lost quite a few games. I think we lost something like 9, 10, maybe 11 games, but we won like 30 odd or something.
And they're all by 1 goal.
Yeah, and they're all by 1 goal, obviously. Yeah. But that was what got us into the playoffs, and probably with the negative goal difference was that we didn't draw a lot of games. So at this stage of the season, I'd probably take, a loss and then 2 wins, and then, the unbeaten run probably to end at some point, rather than doing a Lee Clark and going 46 games with 1-1 draws as 42 of them.
Yeah. I think the unbeaten run's a good point. I mean, as great as it is, like you say, the more it kind of goes on, you think, is there more pressure? Like, is it actually doing any harm than good? I mean, some people will raise their eyebrows at that, but it's a good point. We saw it under Lee Clark. I had put down 1-1. I think this is a game we should be winning on paper. We should be targeting a win, really. But winning 3 games in a week is tough for any side. But I'm gonna go something different. Maybe it's just this team. Maybe it's the options, but I'm gonna go 2-1 Town.
Go on,
I'm gonna do it.
Be the optimist.
Yeah, well done, why not? Someone needs to be optimist. 2-1 Town. I think Ward is going to score. And yeah, I'm gonna say Rhodes. You're right, Tom. Rhodes did everything but get a goal on Wednesday.
Here
so
it
I think
comes.
he's gonna get the winner. Yeah. And that will be the continuation of HMS Piss the playoffs. So all I have to say.
I'm on board.
How many points are we off second now? Is it like 4 points?
Yeah, Bournemouth having a bit of a wobble. Bournemouth having a bit of what they drew. I think they've drawn 2 of the last 5 or something like that. I think they've won. I think they won on Wednesday and they might have won last week, but they've had a bit of a wobble, which is why people have caught up. So,
So gentlemen, going into Saturday's fixtures, we are just 2 points off second. I mean, Bournemouth have 4 games in hand.
But they got 4 games in hand. Oh, wow. That's all right.
But,
points on the board. Always points on the board.
Exactly.
Hey, yeah, points rather than games in hand. Absolutely. Well, okay. We'll need to. I think we'll need to close up this pod. But again, when you're winning, we could talk about Town forever. This could be a 3-hour podcast. But anyway, guys, did it get a bit warmer in here? I think it did, because it's time for hot takes.
Bleak hot, mate. Big bleak hot, mate.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for the humouring me there, Tom. So this is Hot Takes, the part where you share the spicy opinions you have about Huddersfield Town with your reason why, and we'll debate it on the pod. So don't forget, Hot Takes will be anonymous. Don't want you to get into trouble. So don't forget to email Brady at takesthatchance.com for a chance to be featured. So, folks, this hot take involves a managerial legend, and I think this could be a bit of a barn burner of a take. The take is this: Carlos Corberan is better tactically than David Wagner. Tom, thoughts?
I'm not a massive tactics person anyway, Brady, to be fair. Winning games is winning games. I'd say recently, but Carlos seems to be getting everything right. Is he better than Wagner? Oof.
Well, better tactically than Wagner.
Tactically, tactically. So, but Wagner pulled off some amazing wins. Some of the games that he won weren't just down to luck. It was the game plan that he had and what he'd been implementing in that squad. That's a bit. I think it's too early to judge.
That's what I was literally about to say. It's too early to say.
Yeah. He could. I think. Let's say if Carlos takes us up, then I might agree with that hot take.
Okay, Freddie. So you think it's too early?
I think at the moment it's too early to say. I would say that give it another year, and that argument could be pretty legit. Because with Wagner, I feel like for a lot of games you had a set game plan call, and then Plan B was put Hef up front or Hudson up front, like in the last 10 mins. I don't remember specifically a game where he really tweaked it. I mean, obviously, someone can come and say, "You're talking rubbish. It's what the fullbacks for the centre backs in 3 games." But I don't remember specifically a game where I thought, "Bloody hell, he's absolutely changed this round and it's done wonders for us." But there's games where Carlos has implemented certain strategies in the last, I'd say, 6 months, where it's actually worked really, really well. So the Fulham game, for example, playing Lewis O'Brien, I couldn't really work it out at the start. Playing Lewis O'Brien is almost like an auxiliary striker behind Danny Ward, because at times he was the furthest player up and pressing. And that's something that I didn't expect him to do. I thought he'd play, a 4-3-3 or he'd play 4-5-1 and Ward end up getting quite isolated. So I think at the moment, it might be a better argument to say Carlos is more adaptable than Wagner was.
Yeah.
But at the moment, maybe not tactically better yet.
Yeah, I think it's quite a good one, this, because I wouldn't say I agree or disagree. I think for me, first season under Carlos, he's a young manager. It's his first managerial job. It's, similar to Wagner, really. I know Wagner was Dortmund too, so maybe a bit more experience, but Carlos made a lot of mistakes, I think, in the first season, which is understandable, given the squad we had and, him being new to the job. I think he's really come on, I know, we're on 15, 16 games unbeaten now. I think, whatever you had about Carlos before, I know some people still won't give him credit now, but that's not down to even though the squad's better, the manager is involved in that. And I think Corberan is probably, he's probably more into his tactics. He's probably more knowledgeable. He loves
it. He's an absolute tactics nose. He's an absolute. That's what Stephen Chicky said. I asked him a question about tactics early doors, and he opens himself up during the press conference.
Yeah, and I think he's much more happy to talk about tactics, and he's probably more knowledgeable on tactics than Wagner. Yeah. I think as well, like you say, I think you're right, lads. It's too early to say. I've been really impressed how Corberan. I think just he seems to be picking up stuff quickly. So I think last season
he learns from mistakes as well. That's the key thing, I think.
Are we not just basically going in? We're not basically arguing for the fact that he is a better tactician here. I think the way this is going.
Oh, really? Do you think? Yeah. Well, the only thing I'd say is my judgment with Wagner's clouded a little bit, just because I was talking about it. This actually came through last night. This email while I was on the chatting to Joe, and we were saying I think my judgment of Wagner's a bit clouded by the second season in the Prem, just because
he lost the plot by the end, didn't he? It was when the Fulham game when he played 5-3-1 or whatever it was, and he just it was like we played two defensive mids, and then we played 5 at the back, and we were just all thinking, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah, I think the thing that kind of I think wrecked it really was, I suppose this is another hot take, but Man City and Chelsea, those last 2 games, the last 2 of the last 3 games in the first season went very defensive, obviously, and I think that kind of changed the mentality shift, in the Prem. I know we're always against the odds, and again, this could be another podcast for an hour, but I do think that second season a lot went wrong, but we played Chelsea and City again the first 2 games, and he was writing it off. He was like, well, Cardiff's the game we need to worry about, and then we obviously Hoggy gets sent off and we draw 0-0, and it just feels like a bit of a damp squib. So I don't know. Yeah, I think time really, but what I do like about Carlos,
he went from no limits to some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Asterisks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and again, James pointed this out, and I think this is a really good point. What is refreshing about Carlos? I think Carlos, he isn't as charismatic as Wagner. That's not his problem. That's just
He's introverted.
But
He can't help that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But and James mentioned this. He just likes that he says, like Wagner would say towards the end, like, "Oh, we're Huddersfield. We're not expected to beat these teams." I know, again, you're not comparing like for like, but Carlos says, want to be competitive in every game. We want to win. He's not going to say write it off. How easy would it be for managers to say, well, we, especially at Fulham, it's like, oh, well, they're the best team. We'll do what we can. But it's like, no, we want to be competitive. And I suppose that still doesn't answer the question of tactically, but
he's pretty honest in his interviews as well, I think.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people obviously don't probably watch his interviews, but I try and watch every single one when I can. And the way he sees the game is actually how most of us see the game. So if we say, we didn't get out of our own half in that second half, or we were pretty poor here, or we were good here, he normally says that, but he says obviously in his own Spanish intonations, and offensive half and defensive half and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he normally is pretty straight with it.
Yeah.
And he's normally pretty honest, which I do like as, it's one of his great qualities, I think. Obviously, if we're crap and he's saying that, then it doesn't actually matter too much to the fans. But I actually like the fact that he does do that, and he seems to know what is going on. Because you see a lot of managers with absolutely delusional thoughts ahead, like post-match, and the fans are going, "What game were you watching?" So yeah, and I think it's also telling that I think Silver Thomas did a interview pre-match for Cardiff, and he calls him the professor, because he says whatever game plan we have, if something's not working, he changes it. Now that could be another argument, say he's better than Wagner, but just something to add to the conversation.
Yeah, I think, you touched on it as well. Like, he learns quickly. Like, I remember last season watching Carlos, he couldn't get his subs right. And, maybe it's just learning on the job. Maybe it's just when you're in a good run. But like, the subs on Wednesday change it and they win us the game. And, I think he learned, he's going for it as well. And I think, which is good. Is that better tactically? I think we adapt more, definitely. Again, I'm not a tactics nerd. Stephen Chicken, if he's listening to this, I'd be interested. Here's an article idea. Is he better tactically than Wagner? But I feel like you notice more. We change shape under Carlos. We'll start with a 4-3-3, but it might go to a 3-4-3. It seems to adapt more.
He brought on Naby against Fulham, and I was thinking, me and my dad were going, "Oh God, he's brought him on here just to shore it up." But Naby's going to make a mistake, or something's going to happen, and because we were all just on tenterhooks. And then actually he makes two massive, great headers, like clearances at corners, and the guy next to us was saying he's brought him on for that, and we were like, "Sorry, we're wrong there. Hold our hands up." So yeah, what do we know?
Exactly. Yeah, but it's a great hot take. So thank you whoever sent that in. But it's an interesting one. But I think we're all. Give it time. I think that's what we're saying, isn't it? I think there's an argument in there, and that's what makes a good hot take. But I think we'll call it there. Otherwise, this will be another 2 hours of us debating it. But thanks to Tom and Freddie for coming on. Thanks to you all for listening, as always, and thanks to Magic Rock Brewing for sponsoring this episode. You may have seen me and Tom and Matt got a little picture there. Phil Senior was disappointed. But sorry, Phil, that we dropped the ball there. To be fair, I didn't know Matt was coming. I was just meeting Tom, and then Matt turned up, squeezed his way in. Joking, Matt, love you, really. But we'll be back to preview the Peterborough game anyway. So to half an hour and up the town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So Town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So Town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.